guys, just to give you a little rundown of what we're about to do real quick before we begin. This thing is playing. We're gonna get to a couple highlights from Hillary and Trump, and what are you looking forward to watching this?
I mean, these clips, I think it happened so many years ago. You know, isn't it crazy? Like, we were in different positions in our lives. Luke and I didn't even know each other when when these debates were going on. And it's funny to just look back, and we're going to see, I think, a little bit more of a reserved side of Trump.
I hope so.
For this next batch of debates. I think he's already won over the Americans that he needs to win over. I think he's probably going to express himself in a little more calm, cool demeanor rather than what we saw, during this.
All right, so here we go. So this is a 5-minute highlight reel.
Yeah, we'll watch a little bit of it.
But I'm really looking forward to this. Damn it. Hold on, fellas.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
I welcome you to the final of the 2016 presidential debates between Secretary of
Fuck
State
him up, Don!
and Donald J. Trump.
Well, I have much better judgment than she does. There's no question about that. I also have a much better temperament than she has. You know?
He owes our country an apology, and he needs to take responsibility for his actions and his words.
But when you talk about apology, I think the one that you should really be apologizing for are the 33,000 emails that you deleted.
These cyber attacks come from the highest levels of the Kremlin.
She has no idea whether it's Russia, China, or anybody else.
I am not quoting
she has
myself.
No idea.
I am.
Yeah,
He'd rather believe Vladimir Putin.
She doesn't like Putin because Putin has outsmarted her.
Can we watch the whole
every
thing?
step of the way. Putin, from everything I see, has no respect for this person.
Well, that's because he'd rather have a puppet as president of the United States.
No puppet.
Pause this after that. It's very funny to just look back at all of this and see how Hillary was the plant and the puppet after all.
Yeah.
And the Clintons, and it all started with these debates, and it all started with Donald Trump. It's not even that Donald Trump is turned us into a bad country. I think he's slowly opened the eyes of a lot of people to a lot of the fuckery that was going on in the government.
And let's not forget, too, Trump was not the start. He was the response.
Exactly.
This existed long before Trump.
Exactly.
Here we
exactly.
Go.
After a year-long investigation, there is no evidence that anyone hacked the server I was using.
Bullshit.
And there is no evidence that any classified material ended up in the wrong hands.
For you to say that there was nothing wrong with you deleting 39,000 emails, again, you should be ashamed of yourself.
It's just not true, and so please
You
go
didn't delete
to
them?
Allow her to respond, please.
personal emails, not official.
33,000?
Not.
Please allow her to respond. She didn't talk while you
Chris
talked.
Wallace
That's
is such
true,
a
I did.
bitch.
I did it in the first debate, and I'm
that
going to
Chris
try
Wallace?
not
It looks
to
like
in this
Anderson
debate
Cooper from the
because
back.
I'd like to
That
get
might
to the
be.
I think it's
questions.
Anderson.
Get off this question.
Broad-based, inclusive growth is what we need in America, not more advantages for people at the very top.
Mr. Trump,
Typical politician, all talk, no action, sounds good, doesn't work, never gonna happen.
Also, look at this.
Our country
Who's
is
wearing red?
suffering
Who's wearing
because
blue?
I know, isn't that
people
weird? I
like
hate that they do
Secretary
that.
Clinton have made such bad decisions.
Donald has bought Chinese steel and aluminum. In fact, the Trump hotel right here in Las Vegas was made with Chinese steel.
If you say that I use steel or I use something else, I make it impossible for me to do that. She's been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years? You were very much involved. Excuse me, my turn. If you don't get anything done.
I kind of assumed that there would be a lot of these charges and claims. And so
Facts.
we have
Go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much.
The next segment will
continue
well, at least I have a plan to fight ISIS.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
I have put forth a plan to defeat ISIS. It does involve going after them online. I think we need to do much more with our tech companies to Social Security, payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. The Social
Such a
Security
nasty
Trust Fund, Donald supported
Such
the
a
invasion
nasty
of
woman.
Iraq.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
Wrong.
What makes your
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002?
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign is mainstream media.
Everything he just said is absolutely false, but I'm not surprised. It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Boom. Yeah.
What will you do to bring the costs down and make coverage better?
That first one goes to Secretary Clinton because you started out the last one to the audience.
He wants to start, he can start. Oh, go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman. Now, in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me.
He says
Secretary.
now,
Secretary, please let
I
Mr.
think
Trump speak.
he's unfit, and he proves it every time.
You
he
are the
talks.
one that's unfit. You know, WikiLeaks just actually came out. John Podesta said some horrible things about you. And boy, was he right.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not?
If you become president, this country is going to be in some mess, believe me.
I prepared to be president, and I think that's a good thing.
Excuse me. My turn.
I love the Daily Wire, but I also I want to touch on one more thing before we wrap this.